Let's break it down. Washington has just turned one of its most advanced AI chips into a kind of high-tech Trojan horse, and Beijing is trying very hard not to roll it through the city gates. I'm Imran, a Middle East-based analyst who follows US-China tech and global economics. In about 3 minutes, let's look at what's really going on with Nvidia's H200 chips, why some people call this a Trojan horse strategy, and how China is fighting back. If you like clear, simple breakdowns like this, please hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. First, what did Trump actually do with these chips? For most of this year, Nvidia's H200 AI chips were on the too powerful for China list. Export controls blocked them over national security fears. Then, in early December, Trump suddenly reversed course. The US will now allow Nvidia to sell H200s to approved Chinese customers, but only after every chip passes through US hands and a 25% cut is taken as a fee. Important detail: the H200 is no longer Nvidia's top weapon. The US and its allies are already moving to the newer Blackwell and upcoming Rubin chips, which stay banned from China. So, from Washington's point of view, this looks like a clever middle path. Keep the absolute cutting-edge hardware at home. Still earn billions selling one-step-down chips into the world's second-largest AI market. Collect a fat fee for the US Treasury on every sale. Second, why do some people call this a Trojan horse? Because the real power here is not just the chip, it's the ecosystem around it. Nvidia's world runs on things like CUDA, its software platform that lets developers squeeze maximum performance out of the hardware. Once big companies build their models, tools, and internal systems around that stack, switching is painful and expensive. You don't just change chips, you have to change your whole development pipeline. So the theory goes like this: let Chinese tech giants buy good enough US chips like the H200 for the next year or two, get more of their engineers, data centers, and AI models deeply tied into the Nvidia stack. If the geopolitical mood turns again, you can slow or cut off access to future generations of chips, and suddenly their whole ecosystem is stuck on older hardware while the US runs ahead on Blackwell and Rubin. Nvidia likes this because it keeps them central to global AI. Some US strategists like it because it creates dependency instead of a clean decoupling. Quick pause. If this kind of context helps you see beyond the headlines, please like the video and double check that you're subscribed. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these breakdowns coming. Third, how is China responding? Here's where the story gets interesting. On paper, demand for H200 in China is huge. Companies like ByteDance and Alibaba are already lining up to order because they know Nvidia still sets the performance standard. But Beijing is sending mixed signals. According to US officials like White House AI advisor David Sachs, China is now rejecting H200s and pushing big firms to rely more on domestic chips instead. At the same time, China is rolling out Huawei's Ascend 910C and other homegrown AI GPUs as alternatives to Nvidia. Backing a crowded field of local chip designers, Cambricon, Moorthreads, Byron, and others, who are racing to match Nvidia for training and inference on Chinese models. Preparing a new package of up to $70 billion in incentives for its semiconductor sector, on top of earlier big fund programs to speed up fabs, design, and deployment. In simple words, Washington is trying to hook China back on slightly older Nvidia chips. Beijing is trying to burn the Trojan horse before it ever reaches the gate, by throwing massive money and policy support at local alternatives. Fourth, the time and energy problem. There's one more twist. AI now has a power problem, not just a chip problem. Nvidia's own CEO Jensen Huang keeps saying that energy, not silicon, is becoming the real bottleneck. He's openly predicting that big tech companies may need small nuclear reactors next to their data centers within this decade to keep up with AI demand. China has an advantage here. It can build data centers, power plants, and grid upgrades faster and cheaper than the US in many cases. Huang has even said China has an infrastructure edge when it comes to data center construction and energy. So if the AI race is very short, if the US hits true AGI, In a few years, using Blackwell-class chips, America's early lead might be enough. But if this turns into a long, grinding race over a decade or more, with energy and capital as the main constraints, China's combination of cheap power, heavy subsidies, and domestic chips becomes more dangerous for US dominance. So, let's break it down one last time. Trump's H200 decision isn't just about selling some extra chips. It's an attempt to keep China inside the US technology orbit, locked into the Nvidia ecosystem, while America moves ahead to a new generation of hardware. China's answer is to say no thanks, pour tens of billions into its own chip makers, and bet that time, energy, and industrial scale will eventually tilt the race in its favor. Whether you see the H200 as smart compromise or a risky Trojan horse, one thing is clear: the AI chip war is no longer just about performance numbers. It's about who controls the stack, the energy, and the financial firepower behind it. This is Imran Breaks It Down. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, like the video, and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you think China can really wean itself off Nvidia, or will the ecosystem pull them back in? Share this with a friend who follows the US-China tech rivalry. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. We'll keep breaking it down together.